Hey, Mike. Did you ever get COVID and have a podcast with your buddies and have to miss it?
No.
No, me neither. Producer.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and Biggs. Wait a second. Where the fuck is Biggs? Biggs? Are you here?
No. I haven't seen him.
Schulte, did Biggs get in too much trouble at the expo and now you've taken his spot on the show? Is that what's happening? I see a new nameplate underneath. What is going on? Is he getting bounced?
Yeah, the joke's always been made that I gotta, keep you guys in line, but I wasn't there to physically keep you in line, so he didn't make it back, I guess. So here I am.
No, Biggs is off on assignment. He's under the weather, and Schulte's coming in, and he's going to hang out with me today, and we're going to talk about back to our leagues. Okay, last week we talked about Yahoo and ESPN leagues winners at their ADPs, and now we're going to talk about guys we're going to be avoiding at their ADP. I'm going to specifically talk about the Yahoo leagues and seeing what I've seen in their ADPs and help you guys navigate through them, giving you a couple players to avoid, and maybe we'll get Schulte's opinion in on this while we get going. So my first guy I'm going to be talking about as an early round avoid for me, and right now, Jalen Hurts is going as the QB2 overall. That is a very hefty ADP in my opinion. Overall, he's going 37 as the whole player pool is involved, but as a quarterback, he's quarterback number 2. He's a prospect for a top 5 finish. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's going to have some challenges this year since Shane Steichen left, the Eagles offensive coordinator. Hurts has been on a decline. He's had some declining passing metrics, including yardage, completion rate, and touchdowns. This drop off in his passing game significantly impacts his overall fantasy potential, making it uncertain whether he can maintain that elite status he held in previous seasons. Yes, he has finished as the QB2 the last 2 seasons in a row, but I'm thinking things might change a little bit. He's been heavily dependent on his rushing ability, particularly with his touchdowns, which accounted for 24% of his points in 2023. If his rushing production decreases or if his running style is restricted, it could undermine his fantasy output and make his high draft cost even riskier. The addition of Saquon Barkley to the Eagles offense further complicates Hurts' value, potentially limiting his red zone rushing opportunities and thus his fantasy upside. And additionally to that, his retirement of Jason Kelce, Hurts might find some challenges in executing that, coveted tush push, especially in that red zone, which could further diminish his scoring chances. These factors together suggest that Hurts' path to a top 5 finish might be less certain than previously thought of. So you got to think of some guys emerging too that have some rushing upside. Anthony Richardson, Jaden Daniels, these guys are, poised to, if they can stay healthy, be up there as well. And, we got Patrick Mahomes, who is coming off one of his worst seasons as a pro, but he's being now surrounded by a ton of talent. And I think he's poised to have one of the best seasons he's ever had. And I still think Josh Allen is a force to be reckoned with. So that QB2 finish is a lot of, cheddar to be putting into Jalen Hurts. What are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts there, Schultze? Are you in with me here, or you still have him as a top 2 guy headed into 2024?
Speaking of cheddar, how do you feel about cheddar on poutine? Is that allowed?
I mean, if they're curds, yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool. Jalen Hurts. Not at QB2 price. No. You mentioned Josh Allen being the guy still, and to me, he's like in his own tier still. He stands alone QB1. There's not a dude in fantasy and real life, honestly, who just straight up puts everything on his back and produces. So yeah, he's not touching Josh Allen, but we're talking ESPN Yahoo here. I doubt we're running into much super flex. So I'm just waiting on quarterback anyways. I might take Josh Allen if he slides. But for the most part, man, in redraft, standard 1 QB redraft, I'm going to wait on a quarterback.
Yeah, and I agree with that notion as well. I mean, in 1 quarterback leagues, it's not a necessity because there's so much value in the later rounds in these drafts, folks. So yeah, follow what Schulte's saying. Unless you can get a guy like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, as they slide down the board, those are the guys that you'll pick in the earlier parts of the drafts, only if they're sliding in value. But I'm ready with that one too there, Schulte. Are you ready to level up your fantasy sports game? Join the Fantasy Sports Advice Network, your go-to for top-notch fantasy sports and gaming insights. Skip the noise of Twitter and Reddit. Enjoy genuine sports talk without bots and ads. Dive into high-quality discussions and elevate your fantasy experience. We cover most sports. We're getting into basketball, baseball, football is what we special in, but we're going to have even more sports as the time rolls by. Explore the polls, league classifies, curated content from our curators so that your articles, videos, and podcasts are all available in one place. Get expert advice, earn rewards, and impact your fantasy knowledge. So join this passionate community and unlock fantasy sports potential. Visit the Fantasy Sports Advice Network and download our app and start winning. Schulte, what do you think about our app? It's pretty epic, isn't it?
Sure is, man. Especially since the expo, got a lot of new faces on there. You jump on, you got people posting their own polls you can respond to. A lot of people asking good questions. It's just good content, good discussion, man.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it's only getting bigger. We're gonna have bigger platforms join us, and it's just gonna be the community where everybody wants to be. So get it now and get it while it's cheap, because as it grows, things are gonna get a little bit more pricey if you think about it. So let's get in now. Get those premium packages, $50 for a pro membership, and you can get entered into one of our jersey leagues, which are epic jersey leagues. So let's fill those leagues, folks. All right, moving on
that's
to
the whole year too, by the way.
That's the whole year, $50 or $5 per month. It's not even a Starbucks coffee. So let's go. Now I'm going to talk about my middle round avoid, and that's Kirk Cousins. And he is being drafted as the QB17 overall 124. And as a middle round quarterback, he is an avoid for me due to several significant risks. Despite his past success and impressive stats before his Achilles injury, he was ranking as the QB8 in fantasy points per game. His recovery presents a major concern, though, at age 36, coming back from that Achilles injury, and throwing leg could seriously impact his performance and ability to throw an accurate pass as before. Even with advanced medical treatment, similar past injuries suggest a challenging recovery, which may hinder his effectiveness on the field. Additionally, Cousins' move to the Falcons introduces another layer of uncertainty. Transitioning to a new team means learning a different playbook, developing chemistry with new teammates like Drake London and Kyle Pitts. This adjustment period can disrupt his rhythm and impact his fantasy performance, despite having a solid supporting cast and a familiar offensive coordinator. And lastly, Cousins' fantasy track record has been inconsistent. While he's achieved top 10 quarterback status in the past, his performance varies from year to year, often depending on the team and system he's in. Without the added benefit of rushing ability to boost his fantasy points, Cousins presents a risky bet for those hoping for a top 10 finish. Given these factors, his age, injury recovery, team transition, drafting Cousins might not be the best strategy for those seeking reliable QB1 production. Now, Schulte, Kirk Cousins, new environment, new team. Yes, he's got a lot of first round draft capital weapons around him. What's your thought on Kirk Cousins heading into this new team? Are you are you willing to invest in him? Are you gonna risk it for the biscuit, if you will?
Probably not. This is just a team I'm having trouble with in general, and I've kind of roller coastered on all off season. Like beginning of the off season, I was very, very high on Drake London, and I've kind of cooled a little bit there. I still love Kyle Pitts, and I think Bijan to the moon. Kirk just has no rushing. Like there's just zero floor there. And even if things go perfectly, like completely perfect for Kirk Cousins, what's his ceiling finish? QB 10? Like he's just not going to be up there with the dudes, the dudes who run or the elite quarterbacks, and that's a problem. If I'm shooting that late, once again, I'll probably wait even longer than QB 17 area, and I'll take a shot at someone in the 20s. Yeah, and then the Achilles, like it's a tough situation to read. I mean, the coaching staff, I like that, they brought in a lot of the Rams dudes, so that does give him some promise. But I think overall it's an avoid for me.
Yeah, I mean, and at that stage, you're looking for more upside. If I'm waiting for quarterback, I want somebody that's gonna, put up those types of numbers that those elite rushers can have. And I'm going to go with the rushing quarterback no matter where I'm at. I'm looking at Jaden Daniels in that area. I'm looking at a guy, anybody with some rushing upside, and someone with, or somebody with a safer situation to begin with. So I'm out on Kirk Cousins at his draft price, and I'm in on a lot of the Falcons, playmakers, because Kirk Cousins is going to enhance that, but for him, it's more of a lateral move for him, if not a deterrent, because of the injury and a new system. So that's why I'm out on Cousins. Now, my last guy here that I'm steering away from in the late rounds, and he's an avoid for me, and it's just becoming more and more clear that maybe the writing is already on the wall. Russell Wilson hasn't been a fan favorite in dressing rooms. Okay. It's no secret. He's being ranked right now as QB 28, overall 234, and I'm steering clear of him still, even in the later rounds of drafts, and for few big reasons. First off, even though signing with the Steelers looked like a fresh start, Wilson's recent calf injury and push from Justin Fields makes him a risky pick. He's been sidelined due to the injury, which happened during a conditioning test, and it's keeping him from getting much practice with the season opener against the Falcons. Coming up, it's uncertain if he'll be ready to take on that starting job. Field is making a strong case for that starting spot, and his dual threat skills could make him more appealing to the Steelers coaches. If Fields performs well, Wilson might end up losing the job, making him a risky choice. Even if Wilson does start, his limited practice time and injury concerns could lead to a rough start, hurting his fantasy value. Wilson's numbers are also projected to be underwhelming this year, estimating him around 3,500 yards, around 24 touchdowns, putting him near the bottom of the quarterback rankings. His rushing ability has declined, and with the Steelers expected to run the ball a lot, Wilson might not get the passing opportunities needed to be a top quarterback. His decreased rushing potential and the top run-heavy approach make him look more like a low-end, mid-range QB2, even though he ran for 340 yards last year. Wilson's presence in Pittsburgh might impact other players like Fields, who could see his fantasy value drop, but I'm thinking Fields is on the rise right now. I'm nabbing him everywhere I can get him later on in drafts, picking him up on waiver wires, because if he has that chance to start, we know how elite that rushing upside presents. So I'm ready for this to happen. With all these uncertainties around Wilson, his health, competition, and declining performance, there are better options for late round quarterbacks this year. Schultze, who you got? what are you thinking about this Steelers situation right now? Are you agree with me? Do you think Russell Wilson is the guy there after what you've seen in camp so far?
Yes. I do agree with you. I mean, as far as Russell Wilson not being the dude, and sorry, that was a little unclear there.
Yeah.
There once again, no rushing upside is pretty much non-existent with Russ. And everybody has watched Justin Fields completely take over fantasy for like a long time, like long stretches, and just be that absolute game changer. He's going super, super late. So you're not even like sacrificing a starting spot on your team for him. And as a backup, it's like, yeah, you're not drafting a starter. So as a backup, if it doesn't work out, you can cut bait and go get another dude. Like, there's going to be other people on waivers available because of most, 1 QB leagues. So heck yeah, take that flyer on Fields and don't worry about Russ, man.
Awesome, man. Wow. Well, you did a great job filling in for Biggs there, Schulte. I appreciate you coming on and showing your worth in our community here. You're an avid contributor on our website. A lot of people are getting your advice, and it's important that you get that face value. And why don't you tell everybody about your new show heading into the live streams coming up on Monday nights, because they're going to want to hear about it. They're going to want to hear what you're doing and a little bit about your show as we develop it for the Monday nighter after it's all said and done for the week.
So yeah, we're going to be running a live stream Monday night after the Monday Night Football game. Just a weekly recap, mainly a reactionary show, so it should be fun. Not a lot of scripted stuff, just going over everything that happened, taking live chat questions, just hanging out and talking, reviewing the week of football and fantasy.
Awesome,
Probably
man.
running about 11 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, like Eastern time, just after the game, we'll start running it live. And so get your questions going, folks. If you got any, questions about the week that you might want answered by Schulte and potentially a co-host, if you will, but we will see in the near future. So, folks, thanks for joining the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and Biggs and with Schulte. So, until next time, we're going to be talking about the wide receivers of Lloyd's at the ADPs. And I'm looking forward to talking about maybe a Jaguar in the future here there, Schulte.
Ooh, let's do it.
All right. From all of us at the Fantasy Football Advice Network and the Fantasy Forecast, we hope you win.
We hope you win.